If you are over 60 years old, please pay attention to what I'm about to tell you now. It's not an exaggeration, it's not drama, it's not to scare you for no reason. But something is happening silently in the legs of millions of elderly people, and no one talks about it. The legs start to lose strength without warning. First comes the difficulty in getting out of bed. Then, the feeling that the steps have become higher. The instability, the fear of tripping, the sensation that the body no longer responds as before. And the saddest part is that many believe this is normal for age. It is not. Science has already shown something that few people dare to say out loud. According to research published in the Journal of Gerontology, when an elderly person begins to lose strength in their legs, it does not just mean difficulty walking. It means risk. These studies followed thousands of people over 60 years old and discovered that the loss of strength in the legs increases the risk of serious falls, fractures, hospitalizations, and loss of independence by up to 4 times. And worse, researchers observed that this loss of strength usually begins 10 years before the elderly person notices that something is wrong. In other words, when you feel that the steps are higher, science shows that the body has been silently crying out for help for years. That's why so many elderly people start to lose mobility even without having any serious illness. Muscle weakness comes first, and life begins to collapse afterward. The weakness you feel does not appear overnight. It is built gradually, through simple habits, seemingly harmless, that you repeat every day without realizing, and that are erasing your muscular strength, your stability, and your independence. And I need you to listen to this calmly. When the legs weaken, the whole life weakens along with it. Circulation worsens, balance disappears, the risk of falling skyrockets, and the body begins to enter a cycle of loss that can be avoided. But there is good news. The same strength you think you've lost is still inside, dormant. And in the next few minutes, I will show you exactly how to wake up this strength with simple, accessible, safe habits done at home. Let's begin. Habit number 1. Walking barefoot on the ground. The habit that reawakens lost strength. Few seniors know this, but walking barefoot on the ground, whether in the yard, on the grass, on the sand, or even on a piece of natural ground, activates regions of the leg that become completely dormant with the constant use of slippers, sneakers, and smooth indoor floors. When you step on the ground, deep muscles of the ankle, calf, and sole of the foot come into immediate action. These muscles are essential for balance, but they are the first to weaken with age, and when they stop working, instability appears. Science confirms this. Research published in the Journal of Physical Therapy Science shows that direct contact of the foot with uneven ground activates up to 13 times more muscle fibers than walking on smooth surfaces. This improves strength, coordination, proprioception, and drastically reduces the risk of falls. And there's one more detail that no one mentions. The simple act of walking barefoot increases circulation in the microvessels of the legs, those responsible for carrying blood to deep areas of the musculature. Without this flow, the muscle weakens, and the elderly lose strength without realizing. Therefore, if you can, put your feet on the ground for 5 minutes. Just that, 5 minutes. Let the ground hold you. Take slow steps. Let the ankle work. Allow the leg to relearn the natural movement that age should never have taken away from you. This small habit, repeated daily, reconnects the body with the stability you thought you had lost. Habit number 2. The activation of the chair. The silent exercise that awakens the thighs without destroying your knees. If there is something that ages the body faster than you imagine, it is the habit of sitting and standing without awareness. Every elderly person does this dozens of times a day, but almost no one uses it to their advantage. Most people stand up, pushing with their hands, leaning too much forward, or making abrupt movements. This pattern not only weakens the thighs, but also strains the knees and accelerates instability. The correct and scientific version is different. Physiotherapists from the American Physical Therapy Association demonstrated that when an elderly person learns to stand up using the correct force axis, the quadriceps, the muscles at the front of the thigh, activate up to 35% more fibers. It is a powerful workout, without seeming like a workout. And it is simple. Sit in a chair with your feet firmly supported on the ground. Slightly lean your torso forward without overdoing it, and push the ground with your feet as if you want to tear the floor to create space between it and you. Stand up without using your hands. This gesture activates exactly the region that supports your independence. It is this musculature that helps you climb a step, walk steadily, and prevent that silly stumble that could change your entire life. The most impressive thing is that just repeating this 10 times a day at different moments is enough to create a stimulus capable of reversing years of muscle loss. It is discreet. It is silent. It is safe. But for the legs, it is a life shock. Habit number 3. The magnesium, cacao, and banana drink that restores leg strength. There is a simple, inexpensive, and extremely effective combination to regain leg strength, especially in the elderly who feel heaviness, instability, fatigue when climbing stairs, or those constant cramps. It is a natural drink made with pure cacao, banana, warm water, and a pinch of cinnamon. And no, this is not a flu tea or a generic recipe. It is a formula based on physiology, created to improve exactly what the elderly lose over time: essential minerals for muscle contraction and deep circulation in the legs. Cocoa increases the production of nitric oxide, a compound that dilates the arteries and improves blood flow to the calves, thighs, and feet. This is crucial because most elderly people lose strength precisely due to lack of circulation in the deep muscles of the legs. Bananas provide potassium, essential for muscle contraction and to prevent tremors and cramps. Cocoa is also a natural source of magnesium, a mineral that reduces stiffness, improves muscle recovery, and restores the muscle's ability to respond firmly. Cinnamon helps regulate the energy that goes to the muscle, allowing the body to better use glucose and keep the legs more stable throughout the day. Science confirms this. Studies published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition show that cocoa improves vascular function in older adults. Other research on potassium and magnesium shows a direct improvement in functional strength, balance, and gait in the elderly. The preparation method is simple. Take a tablespoon of pure cocoa without sugar. Mash half of a ripe banana. Mix with 200 milliliters of warm water and add a small pinch of cinnamon. Warm just enough to be lukewarm, as very hot water reduces some of the cocoa compounds. The best time to drink this beverage is between 15 and 20 minutes after breakfast, when the muscle absorbs minerals and energy better. On days with tired legs, the elderly can take another dose around 4 in the afternoon, but avoid at night to not disturb sleep. It is also important to wait at least 45 minutes if the person is taking blood pressure medication. In a few days, many seniors report fewer cramps, firmer steps, less sensation of wobbly legs, and greater stability when walking and climbing stairs. This is one of the most effective, accessible, and safe remedies to restore muscle strength without relying on expensive supplements. Habit number 4. The calf is the heart of the leg and needs to be activated every day. If there is a muscle that determines the strength of the legs in old age, it is not the thigh nor the gluteus. It is the calf. It functions as a natural pump that pushes blood back to the heart. When it weakens, circulation slows down, blood accumulates in the legs, swelling increases, and the muscle begins to lose responsiveness. That is why so many seniors say their legs feel heavy, slow, or stiff throughout the day. The calf simply stopped working as it should. The science is clear on this. Studies published in the European Journal of Applied Physiology show that calf strength is one of the biggest predictors of mobility and independence in the elderly. In other words, when this muscle diminishes, autonomy goes with it. That's why there is a simple, safe, and extremely effective habit that should be part of any elderly person's routine: supported calf activation. Here's how it works. Lightly lean your hands against a wall, a table, or the kitchen sink, keeping your body aligned and stable. Raise your heels until you are on the tips of your toes. Lower slowly, without rushing. The movement should be slow, controlled, and performed with attention to the calf muscle, which is located just behind the leg. This movement, performed correctly, activates deep muscle fibers that no other exercise accesses. For seniors with lack of strength, instability, or swelling in the legs, this activation restores life to the muscles that support balance. And most importantly, it requires no impact, does not strain the knees, and can even be done by people with osteoarthritis. The ideal is to practice this movement 8 to 12 times, 2 or 3 times a day. There's no need to do everything at once, just spread it throughout the day, especially during times when the legs feel heavier, such as mid-morning or late afternoon. In a few days, many seniors notice that their legs feel lighter, swelling decreases, and walking becomes easier. When the calf muscle starts working again, the whole body thanks you. Circulation improves, posture aligns, and the feeling of security when walking increases. It is a simple, discreet, and powerful habit that prepares the elderly to age with more stability and less fear of falling. Habit number 5. The strategic meal of proteins, healthy fats, and the right carbohydrates that prevents muscle loss and restores strength to the legs. If there is anything that ages the legs faster than time, it is the lack of sufficient protein throughout the day. The elderly lose muscle at an accelerated rate when they do not consume the appropriate amount of protein, especially in the early hours of the morning. And without muscle, there is no balance, no firmness, and no security when walking. Science is very clear on this. Research published in the journal Clinical Nutrition shows that elderly people who consume insufficient protein lose leg strength up to 3 times faster. This happens because, after 60, the body enters a state called anabolic resistance. It needs more protein to achieve the same effect as years ago. Therefore, there is a fundamental point. The elderly need a breakfast with real protein, not just bread, coffee, cookies, or fruits. The leg muscles depend on this. The ideal is for the elderly to include a generous portion of protein early in the day. It could be 3 whole eggs, which total 18 grams of protein. It could be a 200-gram container of natural yogurt, which provides on average 10 to 12 grams of protein. It could be a small piece of white cheese, or even a portion of shredded chicken the size of the palm of the hand, if the person prefers something salty in the morning. The important thing is that there is enough protein to stimulate the muscle to stay alive. Healthy fats are an essential support for joints and stability. The elderly can use a small drizzle of olive oil, a piece of avocado, or some nuts. Good fats reduce inflammation, protect tissues, and help in the absorption of vitamins that keep the muscles functioning. And the right carbohydrates ensure energy so that the legs work throughout the day. Instead of sugar, white bread, or cookies, the elderly should opt for carbohydrates that release energy slowly and steadily, such as oats, fiber-rich fruits, or a slice of real, whole-grain bread. This keeps the muscles supplied and prevents the feeling of weakness or trembling that many elderly people feel in the morning. This combination, enough protein, good fat, and correct carbohydrate, creates the ideal environment for leg muscles to respond to stimuli, strengthen, and stay active. Many elderly people who start eating this way report improvements in balance, more firmness when walking, less fatigue on stairs, and even a reduction in the feeling of wobbly legs. Proper nutrition is not a detail. It is the fuel that determines whether the legs will stay strong or continue to lose strength day after day. Habit number 6. The internal care that strengthens the legs. Managing stress, cultivating good humor, expressing gratitude, and nourishing the spirit. After 60, nothing in the body functions separately. The legs, the heart, the brain, the breathing, everything is connected. And there is a silent factor, often ignored by doctors, and completely underestimated by the elderly themselves, that directly affects leg strength, emotional state, constant stress, accumulated longing, fear of the future, discouragement, and that heavy silence that takes over the house kill muscle strength without the elderly noticing. Science explains this. When the body is in a state of tension, cortisol levels increase, and high cortisol blocks muscle building, reduces motivation to walk, worsens circulation, and increases pain sensitivity. In other words, what the elderly carry inside shows up in their legs. In the same way, good humor, calmness, prayer, and small moments of daily gratitude have a direct physiological effect. Prayer slows down the nervous system. Gratitude reduces the inflammatory response. Good humor releases dopamine and serotonin, which increase energy and disposition. And all of this improves strength and stability, because a body that feels secure functions better. That is why, often, an elderly person who is sad walks dragging their feet, and the same elderly person, when lighter inside, walks more upright, more firmly, and with more confident steps. The interior always reflects on the exterior. The habit is simple but powerful. Reserve a few minutes in the morning and a few minutes at night to take a deep breath and talk to yourself. A prayer, a phrase of gratitude, a positive thought, a good memory. It doesn't need to be long, it needs to be sincere. Many elderly live carrying old pains, guilt, losses, and silences that were never spoken. And that weighs on the body. Old age amplifies everything. Longing is greater, pains are greater, fatigue is greater, and even discouragement arrives more intensely. But the ability to find light is also greater. And when the elderly take care of what they feel, the body responds. Strong legs start in the mind. Steady legs start in the soul. And when an elderly person combines emotional strength with proper nutrition, simple exercises, and good daily habits, the entire body awakens. Conclusion. If you've come this far, know that none of this is distant theory or empty promise. It is real life. It is your body responding when you take care of it with attention, respect, and consistency. The legs that today seem tired, heavy, or unstable still have strength within them. Sometimes what is missing is not youth, it is direction. Every habit you heard here, walking barefoot on the ground, getting up from the chair the right way, feeding the muscles with what they really need, activating the calves every day, building a strong meal, and protecting your inner self from the shadows of stress. All of this is not just a routine, it is a way to tell your body, I am still here. I still want to live. Because the truth is simple and profound. The legs carry the body, but it is the emotions that carry the legs. When the elderly ignore this connection, they weaken without realizing it. But when they understand this, life begins to move again. If this video touched you, or if you know someone who is losing strength in their legs, someone who is dragging their steps, afraid of falling, or feeling more fragile than they really are, share this video. You can help someone recover not only their legs, but also dignity, autonomy, and confidence. Share. Someone might be exactly needing this today.